How you doing today, folks? Welcome to my channel. I'm gonna go through the ups and downs of good old 6-week process back there in October called the POEC Commission. And what a joke it was right from the outset, I'll tell you that for sure. I mean, it's bloody ridiculous. The report was sent out yesterday. You can see it here in the bottom left corner. We're gonna get into it. So let's see what we could do here. Here it is. It's a new channel. The moniker is Hell X Handbasket because the world's going to hell in a handbasket. I'll tell you that. Try again. Also, I apologize because at this point in time, I don't have everything set up exactly perfectly, and I hope you'll forgive me for that. This mic kind of goes up and down, and I'm trying to figure it out. This is page 21, as you can see. Of POEC Emergencies Act. Overview, Volume 1. And there's quite a few problems in here, which the Minister, Justice Rulo, even brings up right here, page 21. So, it says the Emergencies Act has 4 parts. First, it establishes the type of situations in which the federal cabinet can declare an emergency. Second, it outlines the process for how proclamations begin and end. Now, this is part of the problem, because we know the House allowed it, but we know the Senate did not fully vote on it, and it was called off before they even had a chance, which is quite why it was legal. Third, it sets out the type of powers the federal cabinet can exercise while an emergency proclamation is in effect. This is the part. So it's not, the emergency hasn't been implemented, it's just been proclaimed. Okay? Finally, it establishes a series of oversight and review mechanisms, be it the PEOC, which has problems in more ways than one, say. So, they deal with public welfare emergencies, like if Canada's all of a sudden under an iceberg or hit by a meteor, I guess. Pandemics, this is, they just added this on here. Like, I mean, this is probably never here. The last time it was used for the FLQ in 1970, they never even knew what the hell a pandemic meant. International emergencies, baloney, it's about Canada. Well, that means somehow they report to say intimidation or coercion by a foreign state against Canada is international emergency. No, it's emergency to Canada if they attack Canada. And it's also a war, so why these two are together, we don't know. Crap. Each has a distinct definition, which I already changed, it says. But they all share a common element, the existence of a national emergency. Well, protesting is not an emergency. A semi-truck anywhere is not an emergency for the nation. Even if it was floating 100 feet in the air above Parliament. And it says, endangered lives, health or safety of Canadians. Well, health. That could be a hangnail. Oh, Prime Minister has a hangnail. Gotta call an emergency. Come on now. Serious threats to the government's ability to preserve Canada's sovereignty. That means take it away from the king, which we don't even recognize anymore. I mean, this territorial integrity, yes. Security, up to a point. Sovereignty, nobody cares about this anymore. Ridiculous. And he says, for a situation to constitute a public order emergency, it must arise from threats to the security of Canada. Well, this is subject. It's not an objective thing. And it is already named up here as a war. Or an invasion. We weren't invaded. We weren't at war. Some people think it was a war. There need to open some mental institutions for those people. And it says that threats to security are defined by CSIS. And this is added on to mean one of four things: espionage or sabotage. Well, that's not a national emergency, that's a government emergency. Foreign influence, we already have that, proven. Clandestine activities, we already have that, proven. Why? Okay. He brings up the fact that police are not doing their job, and that's the number one problem. Hence why Miss Brendan Golucky resigned there, taking it on her fault. Totally ridiculous. Okay? The police aren't going to arrest people for foreign influence or clandestine activities, like spying on your own people. Police are not going after the government, okay? Who writes their paychecks? So I wish they would. I wish they had a unit for that. That should be a recommendation in here. Now, I've only read a few of the recommendations. They're baloney. The ones that I read, and I'm going to bring those up soon. But we're just going through the first part. So it says, activities involving the threat or use of acts of serious violence for the purpose of achieving a political, religious... What is this stuff? The threat or use of acts of serious violence for the purpose of achieving a political, religious, ideological objective. Okay, who defines serious violence? Is that a bruise versus a hangnail? Hangnails are a bitch. I mean, this invasion, war. That's what it should say. And that's what it does say. All this added in here is just to muddy up the river. Okay? Activities directed at the overthrow of Canada's system of government. Nobody wants to overthrow the government. We just want a good one. Okay? That maybe listens to the people. And the parliamentary system is a mess. Okay? They just yell liar, liar, liar on both sides of the aisle. I mean, they're not accomplishing anything. And when they make tag teams, this is like pro wrestling up in there. I mean, I want this thing. I want that thing. I want this thing. Oh, liar, yes, yes, no, no, no. Yes on one side, no on the other. Unless it comes to raising their paycheck, then it's yeses all around. They should not be voting on their own pay. Sorry. Then again, I think the pay is too damn low for a prime minister. You know, JT, anyone can have his opinion about him, and I have some. You will know. But earning what he earns is totally ridiculous. It's far too low. He's got a big job. And why does a franchisee at, say, the busiest McDonald's in the world make more than JT? That's stupid. Okay, we gotta pay him enough money so that he doesn't have to do dirty deals on the side, and that's the whole point. They're all corrupt doing dirty deals because the pay is not high enough. Is it because They keep the pay low to make them look just. We'll make it look like we're not getting paid enough to do our job. And stealing on the side. No. Just pay him what he's worth. We got hockey players. We got coaches in hockey, in every sport, making more than this guy. Okay, yeah, sure, they're busy. He's busy too. Sorry. Just the way it goes. The pay is too damn low. Hence, leading to corruption. Nobody wants to overthrow the government. It's not the point. You just wanted to talk to the government. The truckers wanted to talk. JT wanted to run. Because he doesn't want to answer questions that are a little too down the middle. He likes to take swings at the fences. See what I mean? If it ain't a home run, I ain't playing. He's taking his ball and going home. That's exactly what he did. Instead of addressing the issues of the people like politicians are supposed to do, okay? The Emergencies Act can be invoked when the government reasonably believes that the conditions for one of the 4 types of emergencies have been met. No, that's not how it works. Because our government is unreasonable. Like I just said, it's wrestling. It's stick to a script. It's keep people separated. It's bog down stupid systems so we can keep corruption going down the back door. It's not like he hasn't got caught multiple times in corruption. Why is he still there? Because the police have not done anything about it, and they won't do anything about it. Okay? We had a strong police. They go after the strong people. And because we have weak police, they go after weak people. Understand? And plus, if we lived in a just society, we wouldn't need a justice system. So lawyers would be wasting their money. They need to substantiate and continue their system. Otherwise, they become useless. Okay, it also says that the Emergencies Act does not require consultation with other forms of government, such as indigenous government. We're just going to throw in some virtue signaling while we're at it. And sure, the natives have it rough. They have their leaders. But this demonstration did not take place on indigenous grounds. And I remember one that did, which I'll probably look into later for you. Does not require consulting any territories or municipalities at all. Even though they did that. Even though they snuck their nose into Ottawa's business, and Ottawa was trying to cover their business, they stuck their nose into Windsor's business. They stuck their nose into the RCMP's business. They stuck their nose into CSIS's business. They stuck their nose everywhere because they were afraid. Fear will do wonderful things to a weak leader. Make him run. Gets up there trying to be a tough guy, and as soon as they show up on the doorstep, we'll see you later. Okay, so here's one of the most important paragraphs right here. Once an emergency is proclaimed, the federal cabinet is empowered to make various types of orders and regulations that have to force the law. This was the problem. The laws that were being broken were not something that the feds had to get involved in. And protesting is not against the law. And this is why it says this. The powers of cabinet vary with each type of emergency. Because it's supposed to stick to invasions and wars and meteors. Okay? There are also limits on cabinet's power to make orders and regulations, which they haven't followed approximately for 2 years up until that point. They must be consistent. Number one sentence in this whole thing. They must be consistent with the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and the Canadian Bill of Rights. They cannot amend the Emergencies Act itself. They cannot provide for the detention, imprisonment, or internment of Canadian citizens or permanent residents based on race, national and ethnic origin, color, blah, 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 blah. They didn't do that anyway, so why this is mentioned. Virtue signal. Problem is, abiding by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and the Bill of Rights. And they cannot amend the Emergencies Act itself. Okay. So, protest didn't break the law. Maybe parking trucks is not something the feds need to get involved with. Like I said, even if it was a truck floating on top of Parliament, there's nothing they could do. Powers vary, depending, because it's supposed to be, and it doesn't really vary because the act itself is not justified unless there's an invasion, war, or natural disaster, which none of these things constituted. There are also limits on Cabinet's power to make orders and regulations. Oh boy. Now we get into the subjective objective thing. Well, we see it as this. Even though it says invasion, war, or natural disaster, we see the economy as a disaster. Or we see looking bad in the public of the world as a disaster. Sorry. That's not how it works, and that's not how it's defined. Now, they can go and change this later, say whatever the hell they want, and they probably will. But if he's a smart guy, no, he's not going to be in there, and Polyev be in there next. Try to limit his power. And that's what every successive leader should do. If one stretches his power a little too far, they should successively add in more stipulations to stop government from doing this shit. The Emergencies Act provides legislative and judicial oversight of the government. That means being able to get their text messages and stuff like that, which didn't look good, but they could still have private meetings off the record. They could still wipe out entire pages or not provide them to a commission. And here's where I'm going to get into this part about the problem. Through the rest of this is the right to protest. We all know this. We all know this. Okay. Problem is when you get a public emergency order commission like this, there's no book or rules say what they're supposed to do. They can go into detail down to the what hangnail Justin Trudeau got before he declared this thing, or what psychedelic drugs Christopher Freeland is on when she's doing a press conference, or stuff like this. But this commission has no oversight and no rules. I mean, they are the oversight, but they have no rules. They have no power, policing power. They can only give recommendations. I knew right from the beginning it was a joke. But they have no problem showing up because they know it's a joke. It's a big joke. And we all know that half the government didn't answer the question. We all know that in this report here, there's probably not going to be any points about what happened. The people who got beat in streets. It probably will get into the pre-parts of the protest, but it won't get into the day of reckoning. And they also have no justice. The justification for this thing here was absolutely pointless. We all knew it was pointless. That's part of the problem. Please comment below. Like what I'm doing here, we'll keep going. But I have several things on my mind about this new channel just created. It's not going to be all about government and stuff. It'll be different things. I'm hoping to start a call-in radio network and possibly give some prizes away if we get good enough. Let's see who's ready to rock with me. Hope you enjoyed that video today. Comments, suggestions, anything to help me with all this equipment that I just recently got. And like I said, have a good day.